Words for IELTS writing. Hello there, my name is Ben Worthington. In this video, we're going to look at 3 specific words you can use in your IELTS essay. Now, don't just copy paste them. Try to understand the grammar rule behind them. These are very useful because it's a good way to upgrade your language. And the best way to implement these is to write your essay and then go back and look at opportunities to incorporate these words. Now, I go into this in more detail in my online course at IELTSPodcast.com, but we're just going to do a quick tutorial today. So let's have a look. We've got this essay in front of us. It's just a body paragraph, as I said, of a recent IELTS Task 2 question. And the first word that I've pulled out for this video, for this tutorial, is rather. Now, rather is really good because it's specifically in this context for formal writing. And you can see this because I got it from, where is it now? Cambridge Dictionary, and it says, okay, we use rather with more and less as an adjective, plus an adjective or adverb, in formal writing to make a comparison with something. So it's useful to make a comparison because then we're going to be using a different grammar structure, and this will help you to score higher. Also, if we're using rather, it's something typical of formal writing. So let's just have a quick look how I used it in this one. So in this paragraph, whether I used it in this equal rights. So in this paragraph, day and age, whether women should enjoy equal rights as men in this day and age is therefore a rather redundant question. Is quite now the way I've used it in this paragraph. What I did is quite useful because what I did is I've taken the question, kind of reversed it so that the examiner gave to me, you might want to, I've kind of reversed it so for your writing. Perhaps so you take the question. Maybe we've got a question about global warming and pollution, and what we can say is whether the world should take action regarding increase in contamination, pollution, and general destruction of the atmosphere is a rather redundant question. Okay? Another example. So maybe we've got a question about prison sentences. In this case, we would have maybe have a question like we've got here, discuss both views, 2-view question, and one part of the view is something like, I don't know, prison sentences should be reduced in order to promote more, more interaction in the community. Okay? Then I can just say whether prison sentences should be reduced or not is a rather redundant question because rehabilitation should be the focus. You see, you will need to practice this, and I'd recommend practicing it before the IELTS exam. So the best way to practice this is to get feedback. Do some experiments, do some writing, check the grammar rules, and then get some feedback. And then, once you've mastered it, try it in your exam. And by feedback, I mean getting your essay corrected. You can either go to somebody who's really competent at English and you correct theirs, they correct yours, or you can go online to a service. There's one at IELTSPodcast.com. We've got an essay correction service there, and you can get some feedback, and it's a fast way to improve. Let's have a look at this second one. This one's really, really good because I checked in the Cambridge Online Dictionary, and you can see here C2. C2 is the European framework for, it's something for languages in general, and it's something similar to a band 8 or a band 9. And then we've got a B2 and we've got C1, C2, which I think equates to band 9, band 8. Then we've got B1, B2. Sorry, C2 is the highest, yeah. And then we've got B1, B2, which equates to like a 6 or a 7. Can't remember exactly, but C2 is definitely band 8 or band 9. And it's basically, okay, it's basically, how would you describe it? I think the best way to describe it is just to see the examples. It's like, where is it? For example, in the Peruvian army, their elite section actively promotes a ruthless endurance program whereby female soldiers undergo brutal sports regimes. Okay, whereby program in which female soldiers. Okay, so I think by which way, we've got it down in front of us. So I think the best way again to use this is to practice. I've written out a few sentences. So evaporation will arise from processes whereby the water is exposed to heat, wind, or other molecule stimulating events. Okay, just a few typos there. So a general procedure is being described whereby any two employees can lodge a complaint. These are very useful phrases because you can just interchange the nouns in them and accelerate your learning. And you'll also get used to it. So maybe you want to interchange the nouns or the adjectives with a topic that you're more comfortable with. And then you can write out maybe 5 or 10 sentences, and you'll probably get a better feel for the use of this device. The second is an explorative approach, whereby scientists can select multiple attributes from a genetic collection and try to increase the commonality between them. Fantastic. Now, the final one is, it's not actually a word, it's a device that we can use, and it's a gerund phrase. And this is, once again, higher level grammar. And I think it's useful because when we're aiming for band 7, 8 or 9, we've got to show a wider range of grammatical structures. In this case, the word I chose was returning. Okay, and here the gerund is the subject. So returning to the question posed. Once again, this is a device similar to the one I said about rather. This is a device that we can use in our writing in practically any essay, because it's almost like a concluding sentence for the paragraph, or even we could put something like that in the conclusion. So we can say, returning to the question posed, it is now possible to state that women, okay? Returning to the question posed, it is now possible to state that pollution produced by the developing nations is causing catastrophic consequences for the rest of the world. Oh, okay, whatever. So you can see here that there are, we can do this with lots of different verbs. And the word of warning that I want to mention is we should be careful about confusing the subject. Yeah? This is an example I got from English Stack Exchange. It says, running to the bus, Gillian saw her friend Tom. Okay? And the other example, Gillian saw her friend Tom running to the bus. In both cases, we don't know who is running. Now, this is going to be, we can minimize these kinds of issues or these kinds of errors, confusion, if we use words or verbs that are less likely to be confused. So considering all the evidence, okay, determining culpability for crimes is a serious, complicated issue. In these cases, if we use more formal verbs and less like action verbs, the chance of making a mistake is considerably reduced. Right, those are the 3 words I wanted to share with you for this video about words for IELTS writing. Technically, maybe the second one wasn't the word, it was more the structure. However, you can just use returning. Anyway, what I wanted to say, if you want more help like this, like practical help with lots of examples, and if you want an easy to follow structure or process for writing your IELTS essay, so basically there's no confusion, you just see the question, you know exactly what to do. If that sounds appealing, have a look at IELTSPodcast.com, and yeah, it'll be great to see you on the online course there. All the best and good luck with your IELTS preparation.